Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Friday. I cannot believe that we are talking about Friday already. It feels like we just started the week yesterday. Yesterday we just started. I feel like we just talked about October 1st the other day, and now we're at October 4th. The time is just flying by, folks. So I hope that you're well. I hope that your families are well in your part of the world. It's really great to be able to spend this time with you. I'm so grateful that I get to do this and create such a wonderful community, and all of you contribute to that. So thank you so much for that. Again, hope you're doing well. Hope you're ready for the weekend. Excuse me. It is Friday, so hope that you're ready for the weekend. Hope that you're ready to have something relaxing or do something fun or whatever it is that you guys do on the weekend. You know what? In fact, let's make that a topic of conversation. I really love the chats that we've been having recently because we've been getting a lot of participation, a lot of back and forth. Really love hearing from all of you guys. So let me know. Let me know what you got going on this weekend. We always ask people to introduce themselves, city, state, province, country. But let me also know what you got going on this weekend. You do anything special? Are you spending time with family? Are you going somewhere? Are you like doing cooking and prepping for the following week? Let me know what you're doing. Or maybe you're working. I know a lot of people, work on the weekends too, right? But for those of you that are new, I'm still getting a lot of new followers. So if you are watching our chat for the first time, welcome. Please feel free to introduce yourself with city, state, province, country. It's a good way to participate. No one's going to call on you. You don't have to be some amazing data scientist to participate. Just a good way to get the conversation going. And then, for today, I really have no agenda. There's no agenda. There's no articles to discuss. Just let me know your questions, right? If there's something that I can help you with, I'd be happy to try. If I can help you, I will. And if I can't, I'll let you know that too. But, for today, we're just gonna, we're gonna freestyle it. We're gonna do our classic type of stream where I just take all of your questions and see where the conversation leads us, right? So many different things that we can talk about. So really appreciate all of you being here. I'm already seeing a few messages in my chat, so that's wonderful. So now, after I ask all of you to introduce yourselves, I also like to do an opening note. And one of the things I thought I'd talk about today is talking about how, work's not always easy. Work in a corporate environment is not always easy. But it can sometimes be tough, but it can sometimes be fun. The particular situation that I have in mind that happened to me, I guess I would be talking about the time frame of like 2005, 2006, something like that. Some of you probably weren't even born then. But there were times in my career where I've had to work 24-hour shifts. And those 24-hour shifts happen because, things break, there's problems, different items that you have to take care of. So I was working at Ticketmaster, the large entertainment company. They're a very large entertainment company, selling tickets to all kinds of venues around the world. And we had a problem with one of our databases, right? Databases aren't always perfect, right? We live in a world, if you're coming from an academic background or a cloud background, it seems like things never break, right? But things break. So we had a situation where our database our database environment was broken. And when you start working in large corporations like that, it's never just a single server, right? It's usually a cluster of servers. And there was a situation where our primary cluster for our group went down. And we started a support call, an emergency support call with Microsoft. We were using SQL Server 2000, I believe. And, you know, those support calls basically don't end until you find a resolution, right? And the problem started around 3 p.m. And basically, you can't leave until the problems are solved. So this was a situation we actually ended up being there all night. I remember that we finally got the all clear to be able to leave by around 8 a.m. the next morning. I think, in fact, it was so late that people from the night before were coming in for the next day. And they were like, hey, you're wearing the same shirt as yesterday. And it's like, yeah, I've been here all night. But sometimes that's required of you, right? And I bring this up as an example of those situations where you got to be a team player. You got to be a team player. You can't complain, right? Nobody wants to hang around the whiny person in the room, right? So work's not always easy. Work's not always glamorous. Things don't always work the way you want them to do, right? Sometimes it's going to require for you to work 24-hour shifts. But it's not all bad, right? We did a lot of team bonding during that night. We did a lot of bonding with our Microsoft counterparts because our Microsoft support team was on the phone with us basically the entire night, which was amazing, right? I mean, we literally had like a 15-hour support call like that. You know, that's completely unheard of, right? That's craziness. But you do a lot of bonding, right? You have those moments at 3 a.m. where you all break out laughing because you're all like tired and sleepy, but there's nothing else you can do but laugh at the situation. I remember a few weeks later, you know, our boss did give us a couple of gift cards as a token of their appreciation for us, you know, being there. But that's the type of work that's required sometimes, right? And you can't be the whiny person in the room. Nobody wants the whiny person, right? Sometimes it requires that extra effort, that extra time, that time away from your family, that time that really isn't paid, right? You know, my boss gave us gift cards as a token of his gratitude, but you know, obviously it didn't come close to my salary, but that's okay, right? Sometimes you have to do those things just to be a team player, to help the company, to get things running again, right? It's an emergency situation, right? You can't be the person that says, well, it's an emergency situation, but I'm still going to go home at my usual time, right? That's not a very positive outlook, right? So I want to encourage you guys to think about that, because not everything is perfect, right? In the academic world, they don't train you to think about when things break, right? There's no assignment out there that says, hey, we want you to work on this, but halfway through the assignment, the database is going to break on you, and that's the real assignment. Nobody's doing that, right? So hope that you guys take away from that. If you want to tell me something in the comments, let me know. But I'm gonna start reading some of the intros. And again, guys, as a topic of conversation, if you want to tell me what you're doing this weekend, it's a Friday. Let me know in the comments. What are you up to this weekend? Let me know. And again, if you're new, if you're just joining us, welcome. We ask people to introduce themselves with city, state, province, country, and we go from there. Okay? First message is our good friend Rex. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Rex, how are you? Hope you're doing well out there in New York City. Hope it's still sunny for you. I know you told us it was sunny early in the week. Hope it's still nice and sunny out there for you, Rex. Rex, let me know what you got going on this weekend. Fatima, you're our first Moroccan in the chat today. Thank you so much. So Fatima says, hey, sir. Hey, Fatima, I hope you're doing well. Let us know what you got going on this weekend, Fatima. Let us know what interesting weekend activities are happening out there in Meekness. Abdi from Ethiopia. Welcome, Abdi. I think it's your first time, so welcome so much. Preparing for an Amazon software development engineering internship. Nice. Congratulations. Now, I'm assuming you mean you got the internship or you're applying for it? Let us know, Abdi. But if you did get it, congratulations. That's fantastic. But let us know. Sam, our good friend Sam from Thailand says, "Hey, Dennis and everyone, good evening from Thailand. Welcome, Sam. Hope you're doing well." Sam, I've been watching on TikTok. I can't remember his name, but there's a guy who was laid off from Apple recently, and he decided to move to Bangkok. And so he's giving updates from Bangkok, and he's talking about all the storms that are coming in. So it always makes me think about you because it seems like there's some pretty serious storms happening in Bangkok right now. So I hope you're doing well out there, Sam. Rizwan, we always ask people to introduce themselves, so please let us know your city, state, province, country. Michael, our good friend Michael from Lagos. You didn't get stuck in traffic today. All right. Good afternoon, Sir Dennis, and everyone. Greetings from Lagos, Nigeria. Greetings to you too, Michael. Let us know what you're up to this week, and I like the way you greet the entire chat, so thanks so much. Casual Economist, our good friend from Minneapolis, says good morning. Hey, Casual Economist. Hope you're doing well. Let us know what you got going on this weekend. It's nice and sunny today. Good. A sunny fall day in New York. Nothing better, guys. I hope everybody gets to experience that. Such a nice place to be during the fall. Simon, good to see you again. Remind me where you're from, Simon. I know it's not your first time, but I can't remember where you're from. Hi, Dennis. Today I will learn Power BI and DAX for learning to resolve case studies. I'm just a beginner. Hey, nothing wrong with that, and that's a pretty good place to start. Pretty good place to start. Guys, don't sleep on analytics. Don't sleep on tools like Power BI, Tableau, all those other things. Not only are they powerful for your learning and for visualizations, obviously, but guess what? A lot of things can be solved with analytics, guys. A lot of things. A lot of things can be solved with analytics. In fact, you might find a lot of companies out there have, they might have analytics and advanced analytics teams, right? And that's because companies know this, right? Companies already know, hey, yeah, we can do data science, but we're getting pretty far with analytics, right? So, guys, don't sleep on those tools. So Simon shares that he's from Medellin, Colombia. Okay, great. Thank you, Simon. I think that rings a bell. Thank you so much. Welcome back. But yeah, Simon, don't worry if you're just a beginner. Don't worry if you're just saying, oh, well, I don't know modeling. I just know Power BI. You can solve a lot of problems with analytics. And I think that, so here's one of the things that I do, and I've shared a little bit about this before. But for me, when you start managing data science teams, or even when you start working more in dedicated data science teams, you realize how much investment goes into an algorithm. Not just in the development, but also in the maintenance. Algorithms have to be maintained, guys, right? So one of your most valuable skills is kind of like managing that workload. And saying, yeah, that's a good idea for an algorithm, but I don't want to maintain it for the next 10 years. I'm already maintaining 6 other algorithms, right? So a lot of your skill is going to be in just being able to say, you know what? I could develop an algorithm, and this is you talking to a stakeholder, right? I could develop an algorithm for you, but let me show you what you can do with analytics, and then you tell me if that's enough. Because sometimes you can get somebody to 90% of their solution with an analytics solution. And guess what? You don't got to maintain it, right? I mean, yes, you have to feed new data and, the data pipelines. But that's a much easier workload on your team, right? So keep that in mind, guys. A lot of your work later on, as you advance, you get more into leadership, is really just going to be fending off all the people who think they have a algorithm problem, but it's really just like something that can be solved with advanced analytics, right? So Simon, keep going. You know, don't even though you might view yourself as a beginner, you still have a lot of value in learning that, right? Lots of problems can be solved. McThor, we asked people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, province, and all that, okay? And actually, let me add that to my Instagram. I don't think maybe that's part. Give me just a second. I gotta pin my message. All right. Is it Sathi? Sathi, we asked people to introduce themselves, okay? Michael says, this weekend I will try seeing some family members and also try to relearn and understand abstract classes in interface with OOP. Oh, geez. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, wow, Michael, you just dropped like a like a big load on us. Jeez. What language are you going to be doing that in? Are you going to be doing that in Python? Something tells me you're not going to be using Python for that. Yes, bless you. Thank you, Michael. Sorry for the sneezing, guys. Thank you, Michael. Rex says, looks like Dennis is allergic. Oh, that's hilarious, Rex. That's funny. I'm allergic to abstract classes. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm going to do abstract classes, I'm doing that right before sleep, right before if I'm having trouble sleeping, let me look up abstract classes. Oh man, Michael, that is heavy. That is heavy stuff. Python. You're going to be doing abstract classes in Python. Wow. Now, okay, Michael, you've piqued my interest, okay? I'm not sure if I've ever had the need for abstract classes in Python. You know, and I can hold my own in Python. I'm not saying I'm like world class or anything, but I can hold my own in Python. But abstract classes? I'm not sure I've ever used that. So, chat, let me know if you've ever used abstract classes in Python. Or Michael, if you want to tell us the use case, or are you just studying this for yourself? Like what's brought this up? Because I just can't think of the use case. And maybe I'm just being dense. I'm sorry, but like why? I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's you're sitting next to your best friend who eats too much, right? Like they're just stuffing their face, and you're just looking at them in a loving way, like, why do you do that to yourself? Why don't you love yourself? Michael, is there a trauma in your life that you'd like to talk about? Why are you hurting yourself like this, Michael? I'm sorry, Michael, but why? I don't get it. Who hurt you, Michael? Who did this to you? So Michael says, I took a course about it last year and it just wasn't sinking in. Michael, does it need to sink in? Hey guys, please don't spam my chat, and please definitely don't do it across multiple platforms. It screws up my software here, and it's really unprofessional. I think we've had problems with the same user in the past. So guys, please don't do that. Let me get rid of some of these messages. Sorry about that, guys. Took a course about it last year and it wasn't sinking. Michael, what was the use case in that course? I'm truly fascinated by this. I've never come across the need for this. So I'm curious. I just had the lesson. I just had the thought yesterday. I guess it's just one of those things where you think I just can do it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I would never discourage someone from enriching their skills, right? So, good on you for wanting to advance in that way. Just from a practical perspective, I don't know it. I just can't think of it. I think the most complex work I've done with classes in Python is when you do multi-threading. And there's a couple of different ways to do multi-threading in Python, but to do it in the recommended way or like the best practices way, it requires a lot of work with classes. So I can see how you would want it for that. But abstract classes, I don't know, Michael. Let me know if you have a use case in mind or the use case the class taught you. But I'm really curious. But let me look at some of these other ones. Okay, so McThor and Sathi, we asked people to introduce themselves. Riffraff, we asked people let us know the city, state, country, province that they're from. Okay, so Sathi says, Sathi from Dallas, and I would like to request a data engineering resume. Welcome, Sathi. I think it's your first time, so welcome. What part of Dallas? I lived in Dallas for a couple of years. Data engineering resume. So, Sathi, I have a whole video on my website, on my YouTube, about resumes, where I kind of ran like a little mini workshop to show people a resume format that has worked for me in the past. So you're welcome to look at that video, and it'll work for all data roles: data engineering, data science, whatever you want, analyst. But I do have an entire video on that. So Sam says northern Thailand is badly affected. Bangkok is still okay. Hope the water from the north won't flood the low-lying areas in Bangkok. Thanks for your concern. Okay, cool. Yeah, so hope you're doing well out there, Matt. Sam. But yeah, okay. So it sounds like you're not too affected, which is good. Manoj, our good friend from Bangalore, India, says, good morning, Sir Dennis, and everyone. Greetings from Bangalore, India. Greetings to you too, Manoj. Manoj, we're asking people to let us know what they're doing this weekend. Let us know what you're up to. What do you got going on? Michael is our good friend Michael is unfortunately hurting himself this weekend. He has a cry for help where he's going to look at abstract classes in Python. So we're all praying for our friend Michael in Nigeria. Okay, guys, please join me in that. Whatever higher power you believe in, let's keep our friend Michael in our prayers this weekend for the abstract classes. Okay, it's important for us to support each other and have empathy for one another. Michael just we have a fellow sheep that has strayed away from the flock, so we want to make sure that we support our friend Michael in his time of need, in his time of reflection on his life choices to study abstract classes. We got to support each other, guys. We're a team here, and when one of our team members says that they're gonna stray off a good path, we gotta support them. So please join me in that this weekend. Hello, sir. Late Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. Yassine, you're usually the first Moroccan in my chat, but Fatima was the first Moroccan in my chat. Yassine, we gotta change this up, my friend. Yassine says, Michael, may the Lord be with you. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Michael says, Dennis, please. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Minoche, is she good at action? Guys, I mean, I've been doing Python for like what? Like 10 plus years now? I've never come across the need for abstract classes. And again, guys, I'm just, obviously this is all in fun, right? If you want to expand your skills in that way, go for it, right? But oh man, I just can't imagine the use case. I just can't imagine the use case. Michael says, and you too, you see. No, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh, no, says low. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Hey, Ayush, we asked people to introduce themselves. Let us know where you're from, okay? So Fatima is sharing her weekend plans. If you guys want to share your weekend plans, let us know. Just I went hiking to relax and enjoy nature. Then I spent some time learning a new machine learning technique to improve my project. Cool. Cool. How far did you go hiking? Let us know, Fatima. Did you go with family? Did you go by yourself? What's the new machine learning technique? I'm curious. I'm always curious to see what people are learning. It wasn't abstract classes, was it? But let us know, Fatima. Let us know what the new technique was. I think you said you're in your first year, right? Which is good, right? You're still growing, so it's always good to learn new techniques, right? If I can recall correctly, I think the course was on learning interfaces by building a simple equation solver. Okay. And why did that need abstract classes? It seems like overkill for an equation solver, doesn't it? And you said this is, well, you didn't say it was an intro course. So, maybe this was an advanced course, right? But do you need abstract classes for an equation solver, guys? I don't know. Mohammed, welcome. I can't remember if it's your first time. I think it is. Mohammed is sharing 2 flags. All right, so you're gonna test my flag knowledge here. Is that UAE? Is that Emirates? Let me know in the chat. I'm sure somebody in the chat already knows. Or Mohammed, if you want to let me know. But again, guys, we always ask people to introduce themselves, city, state, province, country. Good way to participate, good way to keep the chat professional. Yeah, I think that's UAE, Mohammed. So if it's your first time, welcome. Or somebody in the chat, let me know. And we're also sharing our weekend plans. If you guys want to share your weekend plans with the community, let me know. For me, I'm going to be streaming, obviously, this weekend. Sunday, I'm kicking off my next series. We, as a chat, as a community, we're going to do a data science project together from beginning to end. So I'm going to show you guys how, I would run a project, right? We're going to pretend that I'm in charge of a project and you're my team and we're going to be working on this project together. All right, that's basically how I want to run it. That's kind of like the viewpoint. Excuse me, geez, sorry about that. That's kind of like the viewpoint, right? And it's going to be a multi-part series, right? Every Sunday. Maybe I might do it like Thursday, Sunday. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. And yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to spend some time tomorrow planning it out. I already have a good outline, but I still need to kind of like define the individual episodes. I haven't really done that. I have to work on the thumbnails later today. But otherwise, once that's done, I'm going to work on, just having fun. I'm going to take my dog to the park like I usually do. I'm going to call my parents. I speak with my nephew every Sunday, so I'm going to do that. And that's about it. I think actually one thing I need to do, I need to clean my kitchen. My kitchen is awful right now, so I need to clean my kitchen. But otherwise, just going to be spending time with you guys and getting ready for this series, because this series is going to be pretty long. So we're going to see how it goes. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But so that's coming Sunday, 1500 GMT, if you guys are interested in participating. The Sunday series are very popular. There's some people who only come on Sundays because of the series, and that's cool. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So Michael, continuing the abstract class saga. Okay, I get you, Dennis. No wonder just didn't sink in. And what do you think about encapsulation? My God, Michael, you are killing me with these questions. I am not advanced enough in OOP to understand encapsulation. If anybody else is, please feel free to help me out in the chat. But I am not smart enough to understand encapsulation in OOP. For me, especially when it comes to Python, my biggest use of Python is the object and class design and how they interface with each other, right? Like, how do you properly design a class? How do you inherit from a class? And then how do you ship information among the respective classes, right? What are the custom objects that you need? For me, that's about my top level of OOP. Not because I don't believe in it or not because I don't want to, but because that's really all I've needed, right? Like, well, actually, and then one more thing. And then one more thing I also believe in is to create the smallest methods possible, right? I think people get too overboard with the methods. Your methods should do one thing, period, right? I definitely believe in that. But beyond that, I've just never had to get more involved than that, right? So, yeah, so Michael, I wish I could help you with that, but I just never found the need, right? Like, if you understand class design, class inheritance, understanding, how to ship the data back and forth, and how to keep your methods as small as possible. Like, what else do you need, Especially in Python, right? Like, in other languages, right? In other languages, we'd be having a different conversation, right? Like in C#, right? Like one of the big things that C# introduced into the .NET world is polymorphism, right? And polymorphism is an OOP concept. So yes, and if we were talking about like C#, we'd be having a different conversation because you're not really taking advantage of C# unless you're using things like polymorphism, right? So yeah. So Michael, I wish I could help you, but I use what's been required of me in Python, and it doesn't get that deep, right? But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being a simpleton. Who knows? So Sam says, gotta burn midnight oil over the weekend, catching your stream and grinding for my TOEFL assessment practice. I think you're pretty good with English, Sam. So you should be just fine when it comes to your test. So you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Your English is great, man. You're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna stay positive for you. You're doing great with your English. But you know, speaking in foreign languages and all that can always be a challenge. But yeah, you're gonna be just fine, my friend. Yusuf, welcome. I think it's your first time. We always ask people to introduce themselves. So let us know your city, state, province, country, please. You know, we ask people to introduce themselves, so thank you. Joseph says, hello, Dennis and everyone. Joseph, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well out there in flood-ravaged Tennessee. Hope you're doing well. But Joseph is one of my moderators, just like Rex is, so thank you both. Casual Economist says Sunday should be lots of fun. Oh, geez, put on the pressure, why don't you? Geez. I hope it'll be fun, right? You know, it's a double-edged sword, guys, because I come up with series that I think would be fun, that I think are beneficial, right? But I don't know, like you don't know until you do it, right? But I think it's going to be a really cool series. I think it's going to be a unique series, right? Because, you know, basically no one out there is doing that. Now, I will warn you guys that because it's an entire project, it's not always going to be coding. It's not always going to be, you know, Python or even talking about models. Sometimes it's just planning. Sometimes it's just setting out the plan, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Sunday sounds terrible. I'll watch football and drink a... That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But you know what? Joke's on you, Casual Economist, because I stream before the football game. So, ha! Yeah. So yeah. You gotta come. You gotta come because there's no football on at 8 a.m. I think the games start at 10 a.m. right? Yeah, 10 a.m. At least the earliest you could watch the games is 10 a.m. on my side, right? Because I live on the West Coast, so games aren't 10 a.m. So joke's on you. You have to attend. Speaking of football, didn't Minneapolis let Kirk Cousins go? Kirk Cousins had a heck of a game last night, right? So joke's on you twice because you let Kirk Cousins go. Casual Economist says no pressure now. Okay. All right, cool. But you know, guys, I'm just putting out stuff that I think is interesting, and I'm grateful that you guys reply to it, you know, and respond in a positive way. But I'm just sharing my experience, right? This is the stuff that I've lived. That's all I can really do, and we go from there. Okay? So Yusuf says in Australia studying software engineering. Oh, very cool. What part of Australia? Australia's a big country. You can't just say Australia. So Yusuf, yeah, I think it's your first time. Yusuf says hello. Welcome, Yusuf. Yassine says, this weekend I'm intending to improve my knowledge on LSTM, doing some practical examples with Karis, of course. All right, good man. Good man. All right. See, I feel like I'm having a positive influence on the world already. Oh man. Okay, LSTM, super interesting. Super interesting. Yeah, I love working with LSTM neural networks. Yeah, if you guys don't know what that is, and you guys want to look that up, LSTM neural networks are very, very, very powerful for NLP. I have had a lot of success working with LSTM neural networks with NLP, and there's a lot of white papers out there to support that. So if you guys want some interesting reading, a lot of interesting research, go look that up. Go try to understand LSTM neural networks, and like that's a really good way to advance your deep learning, neural network knowledge. So Yassine, I think you're on the right track. If you guys can understand LSTM and NLP, or even just LSTM neural networks in general, good for you. And by the way, that's one of the interview questions I ask. I ask, how exactly do I phrase it? I say, what is an LSTM neural network? Or do I ask? No, I ask, what is an LSTM neural network node? And how does it differ from other neural network nodes? So if you guys want an interview with somebody like me at my level, that's one of the questions I ask. All right, so write that down. What is an LSTM neural network node, and how does it differ from other neural network nodes? Come up with an answer for that and bring it sometime to a chat. But something like that, I 100% ask on interviews. Especially if you tell me you know neural networks. If you walk in and you tell me you know neural networks and you can't answer the LSTM question, wrong, you're out. Michael says, can't wait for the Sunday classes then, thanks to this. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, more pressure, thanks a lot. Yeah, that's the last time I talk about my Sunday classes. I'm planning to hike the Tirupati Mountains, which has approximately 2,500 steps. Also studying Make Your Own Neural Network, and excited about the Sunday stream. Cool. Yeah, Make Your Own Neural Network, guys. You got to get that book. That book helped me a lot. Thank you, Dennis. Much needed help, much needed motivation to secure my scholarship spot. No, man, you're doing fine. You're doing just fine. Especially if you're able to participate in a chat like this and put in your put in your thoughts and you're typing it also. I think you're gonna do just fine. You're gonna do just fine, Sam. Your English is strong, I mean, I know that TOEFL has like different levels or whatever that they assign you as far as proficiency, and I'm not educated enough on those, but I think you're doing just fine. And you know what, guys? I'm always impressed when I travel and I meet people who have like English skills, and I'm most impressed by people who can do that and have never been to like an English speaking country. Like, I remember on one of my trips to Morocco, I had a driver who picked me up from the airport or something like that. And he had like perfect English. Like no accent, just perfect English. And for those of you that don't know, Morocco has a very restricted passport. There's not many countries you can travel to outside of Morocco, on a Moroccan passport. So I knew this, and I asked him, and I said, "You've probably never been to the US or an English-speaking country, have you?" And he said, "No, I've never been outside Morocco." But he had like perfect English. And like that to me always blows me away. Like, how are you guys doing that? Like, that's just amazing. Because English is acknowledged to be one of the hardest languages to learn. And on top of that, we have a lot of slang, a lot of colloquialism, right? I've spoken to other English or non-native English speakers that have told me that, right? That the slang is very difficult to kind of get your head around, right? So I always admire anybody like Sam who's trying to develop their English and trying to get better, because it's super hard. So good for you, Sam, and good for all of you in my chat who are working on their English. I recognize that it's a difficult thing to do. Like I said, I'm always impressed by people who can do it. Like this driver, like he had perfect English, like even slang terms, no accent, like crazy that people can do that. So good for you guys. How is the job, Yusuf asks, how is the job market for software engineers in Australia? No idea. The only thing I know about Australia is it's a beautiful country. I spent Christmas there a couple years ago. They treated me really well. Things were super cheap because the US dollar is so strong right now. I walked around Australia feeling like the entire country was on sale because the US dollar is just so strong. So I was just walking around, everything's on sale, cool. So I did a lot of shopping in Australia. But that's really all I know about Australia. Sorry, Yusuf. Maybe somebody in the chat can help you. Maybe somebody in the chat knows the Australian market better than I do, right? So guys, if you can help out Yusuf, let me know. But yeah, I wish I knew more about Australia. I'm probably gonna go back there someday because I can get good tickets based on my Amex points and all that. But yeah, all I know about Australia is that it was super cheap and I did way too much shopping there. Fatima says just solo hiking. Machine learning techniques like transformer architecture is SSL and GNS. Oh my gosh, you guys are learning some tough stuff. Oh my gosh. Transformer architectures? Are you trying to go to sleep, Fatima? Are you having trouble sleeping at night and you're reading about transformer architectures? Wow, you guys are amazing. You guys are doing some advanced stuff. We got what? We got abstract classes, transformer architectures, LSTM. Oh my gosh. Are you guys suffering from insomnia or something? Like, are you guys having trouble sleeping? Is there something you want to share with us? Yusuf says they're from Melbourne. Okay, cool. I've heard it's really nice up there. Would love to go there sometime. Yassine says, can you please give an idea about what variants of neural networks have you seen being used most in the business field? Too broad to answer. Too broad to answer. It's not about the business field, Yassine. It's about the problems in front of you. Are you working on image processing? Are you working on NLP? Are you working on just number data, scalar data? Are you working on signal processing? It all depends. And that in itself can be experimentation, right? Like, yes, LSTMs do well in NLP, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying other neural networks, right? So like that, like obviously it's not a hyperparameter, but you should be able to say, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm doing this in LSTM, but why shouldn't I try other nodes? Like there's nothing stopping you from doing that, right? Like just yesterday, right? Yesterday we were talking about, Fatima brought up about, LLMs for Arabic, right? So LSTMs and NLPs work great for English. Maybe you should try something else, a non-LSTM neural network for Arabic. Like who's to say that wouldn't work, right? So so there really is no answer here, Yassine. It's all about the problem in front of you. And even then, right? Even then, there's no clear answer. Because I mentioned, are you doing image processing, NLP, or whatever? Okay, fine. You're doing image processing. Okay. But are you working with photographs? Okay. Or maybe you're working with like security camera footage. Okay. Photographs tend to be color. Security camera footage tends to be black and white. Who knows what neural networks will work then, right? So so there is no clear answer, Yassine. You just got to try it, right? It's one of the elements of experimentation that you would have to use. So again, not quite a hyperparameter, right? I mean, that's not accurate for me to say that. But experiment, try it. There is no clear answer, right? So I hope that helps, Yassine. Surangana, we ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Antonio, we ask people to introduce themselves. Please let us know your city, state, province, country. So Michael says, so I wanted to also ask, what are the cons of being a data scientist? And also the risks that come with the job? Wow, great question, Michael. Great question. To me, there are no cons because I love it. I'm passionate about it, right? So feel free to ask other people that question, because I might be giving you a biased answer in that regard. Right? As far as the risks, your reputation matters, right? There's always the risk of you ruining your reputation as a scientist. And that's unique, right? Like, you really can't ruin your reputation as a software engineer, right? Software engineers aren't usually in a position where they end up writing papers or doing their own research or whatever, right? There's no risk in being a code monkey, right? Well, I mean, excuse me. There's no reputation risk in being a code monkey, right? But, you know, there is a risk that they're going to be eliminated by ChatGPT. But I think that's the biggest risk, right? Your reputation matters. Your reputation as a data scientist matters. And like I said, that's unique, right? Because I may like you, but like, I may not like your scientific practices or your approaches, right? Like I can separate those two out. Like, I may think that you're a great guy, but your scientific approach sucks, right? Michael says, I just knew you would say that. Well, I mean, it is, right? It's a risk. It's a risk. Fatima says, I really appreciated your idea from yesterday. Fatima, I get 5% of your company. Hey, if the idea came from this guy, I get 5% of everyone's company, okay, guys? When you guys become millionaires and you have not one but 2 houses out there in the Meekness countryside, don't forget about this guy, okay? Don't forget about El Numero Uno. But yeah, so, you know, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there with foreign languages and LLMs, guys. But yeah, but Fatima, don't forget me. I get 5% of that company. Let's see. Okay, so Antonio says, I'm from Greece, Athens. Welcome, cool. We don't get a lot of viewers from Greece. I get a couple, but always nice to see that. So Antonio asks, hey Dennis, I wanted to ask you 2 things. On your blueprint, the first thing you mentioned was mastery. How's that? And second is, how come you did not mention anything about calculus? Is it irrelevant to DS? Okay, why did I mention master? Well, I'm seeing 2 questions, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Antonios. Why did I mention mastery? Well, because if you watch the video, you know that it had a lot of influence on my life, right? That's the book that caused me to get away from software engineering and go into data science. Huge moment in my life. But I really believe that it's important for you to find your mastery. What is it that you want to pursue? What is it that you want to make your mastery in life? Right? So that book encouraged me to do that self-reflection. Right? So again, if you watch the video, you know I share that. Where I was doing software engineering, was making a very, very, very good living at it, right? No complaints, you know, 6-figure salary, and had good clients, had very convenient clients, you know, they were all close together. I had my little routine where I saw my clients locally. Super, super easy, you know, for me, and like I could make 6 figures every single year for the rest of my life. But I wasn't happy, I wasn't passionate, right? So mastery helped me do that. So I encourage people to read that, because data science may not be for you. That's the bottom line. You know, I get a lot of people in my chat, tell me how to make money, tell me how to become a data scientist in 4 months. That's not passionate people, right? That's people who they don't get data science, right? Like they haven't taken the time to reflect on it, right? So yeah, I mean, it's super important. So I fully expect that somebody would read that and they would say, you know what? Like, maybe data science isn't for me. Like, maybe, like Antonius, maybe your passion is to open a restaurant. You just don't know it. Because, you know, you haven't taken the time to reflect on it, right? Like maybe you would run the world's best restaurant ever made, but you just never reflected on it. And data science is not for you. And that's okay. Data science is not for everyone. Right? Just like being a doctor is not for everyone. So that's why I recommend it. So overall, I would recommend that you kind of go back and look at that blueprint, because it sounds like you could get a little bit more out of it. Okay, second part is, how come you did not mention anything about calculus? Is it irrelevant to DS? It's completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Don't listen to the influencers that'll tell you differently. They're just trying to sell you a course and or come up with cheap content, right? The level of math that you need for data science is like a half-day seminar, and that's it. Just like a little refresher on general things. Understanding probabilities is probably 100 times more important than understanding calculus. Like whoever told you that you need calculus, don't listen to that person, right? That's just plain wrong. The math you're going to need anyways is going to be contained within libraries already. So it's more important to understand the APIs that you'll be using than it is to understand calculus. So, and then on top of that, as I've always said, why the calculus side? Like, you would carry that over and talking to your stakeholders? Like, that's not a good idea, right? Like, if you speaking of reputations, like we asked with Michael, right? So Michael, here's another risk for you, right? If you delve a lot into that calculus side and, I got to know all this math, right? And you develop the reputation in your company as being the math guy, nobody shows up for your meetings. Why would the director of marketing show up for meetings with the math nerd? Like, nobody's going to show up for your meetings, guys. So that's another risk, Michael. Right? Add that to your list of risks, right? If you develop that internal reputation, very, very few people will talk to you. Right? And that's not a good place to be. So Antonio, it's more about, understanding data science, understanding people, understanding the architecture. Those things are 100 times more valuable than understanding the calculus side, right? Antonio says, well, a restaurant has logistics that I would be interested in. Logistics that I wouldn't be interested in. Okay, I agree with that. Restaurants are very difficult. Data is where I belong. Okay, why? Why? Why is it where you belong? Like, I'm going to challenge you on that. Like, why do you say that? Because again, it sounds like you haven't read Mastery, right? So you really can't say that you know that that is where you belong, because you wouldn't really know where you belong unless you reflected on it, right? So why? If you're comfortable sharing that, let me know. Put it in the chat. But I think these internal conversations are super important, right? Really, I've got a whole semester on mathematics and statistics for data science. Yeah, but I think universities do that to fill up their curriculum, right? Universities are not smart enough to realize what you need in the real world, right? I mean, universities are taught by courses are taught by academics who haven't been out in the real world. So yeah, I hear you, Ava. Right? You're going to find that in a lot of. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's Ava, right? They have a lot of courses that really aren't always relevant, right? So yeah, I hear you. And also, it depends on how much they go into statistics, because statistics, I think, is valuable. But again, you're going to use libraries for that, right? Don't get too caught up in the individual formulas, because you're going to use libraries anyways. But it depends on how much statistics they go into. But some statistics can be interesting. Like if they're going to teach you hypothesis testing, I'm on board with that, right? Like, that's cool. But yeah, don't get too crazy or too caught up with, okay? Antonio says, thanks for the challenge. I say that because of the domain expertise. At the end of the day, I see things that the majority of people can't, either from a business or statistical perspective. I'm having a little trouble with that statement. I see things that the majority of people can't. That doesn't mean they can't see it. That just means they have a different view than you, right? You got to be open to other people's views, yeah? I don't know, Antonios. I don't know. I'm open to being wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong in the chat, but you can't just dismiss other people's opinions because they're different than yours, right? There's not always empirical answers to everything. You know, that's one of the reasons why I encourage us to go back and forth, and why I tend to use the Socratic method a lot. Because it's important to hear other people's perspectives. So I can appreciate that you have a different perspective than other people, but you can't just say, I see things that the majority of people can't. Because it's two things, right? One, you're assuming that there's an empirical answer, and things don't always have an empirical answer. And two, you can't dismiss other people. They just have a different perspective than you, right? So be careful with that. Be careful with that. Just because people see things differently than you doesn't mean they're wrong. So, I don't know, Antonios. I don't know. Careful. Danger, danger. I'm sorry, I don't read Arabic, but we do ask people to introduce themselves. Stones, please, we ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Rex says, I picked data science because it's the because it's the sexiest profession of the century. Oh, I love it. I love it, Rex. Awesome. All right. So if you guys haven't heard this one before, there was an article, a few years ago, I think it was in Forbes magazine, talking about how data science is the sexiest job of the 21st century. So I always make fun of people who say that, because that's like the worst reason to go into data science, right? But yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, that article in Forbes magazine probably caused more of these idiot influencers than anything else, because all of a sudden people said, oh wow, data scientist, it's sexy and they pay a lot of money. I want to be a data scientist. So Rex is just poking me where he knows that it's just one of those things that gets me. Oh, oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, guys, really appreciate the time that we spent together. Really appreciate that you guys are willing to share your plans and your weekends and your perspectives. Sunday, remember, we're going to start a brand new series. I'm probably going to do some promos about that today. I got to do my thumbnails and start, I got to get my act together basically and put together this Sunday series. But really appreciate all of you. Again, I'm just astounded by how many different things are going on in the world right now. So I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're well and you're part of the world. So please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.